RIP to the Mixon haters. Coming up next on the Wincinnati Podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Time to be a Bengals
How do you
fan.
balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? Need your top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time, man.
Yeah.
Shock the world.
Welcome to the Wincinnati Podcast. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. This is my co-host, Zim. Zim, what's up, bro? You feeling all right?
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling great. What a way to start off a show. I swear to goodness that when that drink hit it, I just felt like people gut like falling into the cup, and they gotta eat you. Sometimes you ain't gotta eat your words, you gotta drink your words and just have a drink with us tonight. Let's have some fun. We're on a bye week. I feel great. A dub is a dub. I'm in the winner's circle. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. That's a great way to get into the bye statement game for a lot of reasons. But yeah, we got a great planned show coming up for you guys. Obviously, we got to talk about my man, Money Mixon. We're going to get into Jodine's huge day in that record performance that he had over the Carolina Panthers. Then we got some weird news today. A little weird, not too weird. Maybe it's more about the Steelers. But the NFL decided to flex our primetime game against the Steelers for the Bengals. So we'll talk about that. And then we got our friend of the show from fans of Cincy stopping by. And if you guys are listening, we're going to announce a winner for that Fans of Cincy giveaway coming up next on the Wincinnati. All right, Zam, let's talk about it, man. The Cincinnati Bengals, our Bengals, and Joe Mixon just completely dominated the Panthers. I think they were picking up pieces of actual Panther on I-75 after Joe Mixon ran all through them in that game. They get to 5-4. Joe Mixon with the 5 TDs. Talk to me about this game, bro.
Pure domination from start to finish. Everything looks so beautiful. Like, remember when we started this season, I said, man, I gotta show more love to the big boys. I gotta pay more attention to the trenches. One thing that I gotta do is get out of this cycle of highlights of wide receivers. As much as I love wide receivers, the trench work was amazing. I thought some of the pin and pull stuff that they were doing early in the game, it just totally caught the Panthers off guard. And so then when they got back into gap scheme runs, it was just like, then we're just plowing guys. You see like Adeniji. You see Lyle Collins maybe with the pancake of the year for a Bengals player. You just saw a lot of different things that we said early in the offseason, like get Lyle out in space, get him running and knocking people. Like that happened, bro. And it was so beautiful to see like the boys up front really blocked for this man, and you get a chance to see Mixon go downhill. And when you run into football, let me address this statement, because Joey said, when you run into football, if we're running the football like this, no team could beat us, right? Like nobody could beat us, right? On my Instagram, I noticed a lot of people was like, well, duh, if you're running a football, like nobody, whatever, right? The difference is this. The teams that can run the football, like your purple people, yeah, there we go. Great graphic right there. Cincinnati boys doing good work.
Shout out to Ryan.
If you're running the football like the Titans, the Ravens, the Panthers, the Falcons, teams that are running the football, the difference is they don't have the weaponry that we have. So when he says a statement like that, it's very different. And nobody, if somebody got a team that they think outside of maybe the Eagles, I'm guessing, if they got a team that they want to show me that they feel like can run the football effectively and have the passing weapons that we have, I think that was on full display on this game. You showed a critical graphic. Joey B's adjusted completion percentage was near 15%. He already threw for 80% in the game. He literally just threw for 90% in a football, 95%. I'm sorry, 95, like perfect throwing, and he only played 2.5 quarters. He went crazy, bro. But back to Mixon. I'll let you handle the Mixon stuff, because I feel like I done drove it all, A balanced
Drove it in
attack.
for another touchdown like Joe Mixon
Man,
did.
I done drove that drain. Like, if people really, really follow us, like, and people really, really listen to us, I promise you, there ain't another pod that really be calling and stuff. And I'm not the guy to be like, oh, yeah, taking victory laps. But we literally said, if you just run the football and you have a balanced attack with this team, like, there's no way to stop this, bro. And anybody that's saying that the Browns got your number and stuff like that, I understand that concept. But if they run the football effectively, I just think that it changes the outcome of a lot of them games. Maybe you lose to the Browns, I don't know, but that game looks a lot different when everybody in the room is on board when running the football. And even if it doesn't look like this, say he runs for 80 yards next week, so what? Once you do that, it softens up the defense, and now the secondary is wide open and ready for you. And moving forward after this game, Jamar Chase is at home licking his chops and saying, whoa, wait till I get in there. And, like, they had to prove that to Uno that they could do this.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest statement that I took away from this game was how Frank Pollock, Brian Callahan, which Joe Mixon kind of talked about, right? Their adjustments to this game, because not only did they run the ball, right? They ran a lot more 12 personnel. I haven't seen them run much 12 personnel this season, right? There were things that they did in this game, as you can see on the highlights, guys pulling, guys jumping out in space, double tight ends, more than one tight end blocking, Joe Mixon coming off of those guys with cuts and stuff like that. I mean, the way that they were able to do that was extremely impressive, because they've tweaked the run game several points this season, right? They started out with a zone scheme, switched that to gap, then went to the RPO stuff. Now they're going with the 12-man fronts. Like, this thing is evolving, and that's not something simple that they could really kind of do on short notice. The other thing I want to talk about outside of Joe Mixon, he talked about this on the Richard Sherman podcast. He's told Brian Callahan that he's a weapon. Like, let him go out there and run a route or something like that, right? He talked about how he wanted to go out and run a fade route. And that just so happens to be the one where Joe Mixon comes back and catches that one in the end zone. It was a fade route. And we've all, as Bengals fans, you and me, Zim, everybody has been saying, this was a dude that was compared to Le'Veon Bell coming out. Have him out there, run him on some routes, do some things. He's kind of vocalized that and told some of the coaches and staff members that he can do that. That's something that Joe Mixon can do. He's a guy that can do everything in the running game. But even outside of him, me and you talked about, they have more weapons. Even though they are missing Jamar Chase, this can still be an explosive offense. Hayden Hurst, they got the ball more to him. You talk about Tyler Boyd, they got the ball to him. T. Higgins, they got the ball to him. Teams tried to go into this, not even double teaming T. Higgins. We took advantage of that. Them moving Tyler Boyd on the outside, bringing Trent Taylor in to play in the slot. Like, things that they're doing that are just way more creative. Reverses with Trent Taylor, bringing Trenton Irwin in. I mean, there was a lot of creativity in this. I had to tip my hat to Zach. This was something that I said. Zach's going to have those games where you're going to have a little bit of a dud on offense. The next week, he's going to make the adjustments. He's probably going to put up 30. This dude put up 40 this week, man. I mean, I want to talk a lot about the offense because the offense did their thing. I also want to talk about the defense, man. The defense really impressed me in this one because I was not comfortable going into the game because the secondary was depleted. We heard that Mike Hilton was going to be out. I didn't think that they were going to get killed, but I didn't think that they would look like they didn't miss a beat from the week, I guess, prior to that. Not this game, obviously, but the Falcons game. They looked closer to that Falcons defense than they really did that Browns defense, right? Jesse Bates comes back, jumps up, jumps a pick. Jermaine Pratt had a play. Like, everybody was balling, man. It truly was the epitome of next man up. And Zim, that's what we talk about, right? When you have these injuries, Bengals fans, we don't make excuses. Like Zim says, it's next man up. The next man came up. They came to play. Eli Apple, great game by him. Jalen Davis, like, bro, there's so many guys that I can name on this roster that really stood up in that game, that did their thing. I mean, PJ Walker had 9 yards in the first half. They only had one first down in the first half. That was a courtesy of a penalty. They didn't even get a real first down in that game, bro. Like the defense played lights out. I know there's a lot of Baker Mayfield.
They
stuff,
didn't even reach to the 50-yard line into the second half, bro.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy how this team came out and played. They played angry. You could tell that they were pissed from that Browns win. They took it out on the Panthers, bro. Like I said, there's actual bits of Panther found on I-75 after that win.
Man, the defense.
Shout out to Joe Mixon.
Bro, because Joe, you're right talking about the defense. Because Joe Mixon went so crazy, like it just really took a lot of that attention off of that defense that pitched a shutout to a team that had been running the football effectively. They had 35 points the previous week, and then you think about what they did 2 weeks ago to the Buccaneers, going 21-3. So anybody trying to diminish the win or whatever, like just tell them context is not needed. It is what. And
what about
like,
the context of the plays that were near touchdowns that weren't called touchdowns? Can we talk about?
Come on, tell my fantasy football team I lost by 3 points. And you know Joe Burrow, my quarterback.
Touchdown. I mean, how was that not a touchdown?
Hey, Ryan going crazy in the back. If you guys are listening to the podcast right now, I swear, like this man is inside our brain right now.
Trenton Irwin one was crazy.
Every time I say something, it's just like, wow.
The Trenton Irwin one, like.
I thought
you see Joey B and Trent on the sideline, just like looking like, how is that not a touchdown? Like,
can we talk about little TT for a second?
Let's talk about TT.
Hey, TT, for all the people like myself, let me eat some crow real quick. I kind of hit the Bengals and I said, you know, I don't think that they're 100% committed to winning when it got to the trade deadline. That we won't know. Hindsight is always going to be available to us at some point, right, at a later date. But currently, right now, the team answered the bell. I just didn't want the team to feel like they didn't have the resources and they felt like they were going into a battle without no Mike Hilton and all these guys, and they don't have anybody, there for depth purposes. And then you got guys playing all out of place and all these different things. Credit to the front office for trusting Lil TT to go crazy. Listen, sometimes I'm gonna tell you a critical play. The play with Trent Taylor. The Trent Taylor block for Mixon is incredible. Dude is like 5'3" or something. Like he's small as hell, but he's bigger than that. But he's small. All right, but he has a throw over the middle. If he doesn't jump up like he does to get that catch, not only is it over the middle, and that's a insurance, like that's a decision. Like in real time, some wide receivers let that ball float over their head, and 9 times out of 10 it's a pick. He jumps up and goes and gets that joint, and at the very least, he's going to make sure that ball doesn't go anywhere. That's a coach's son. Shout out to Zachary Taylor, his dad. So, but you can tell, like, he's, his situational awareness, and you go back to the 2-point conversion in the playoffs, or you go to the end around last week. I hated that he muffed that punt over there and was that New Orleans game, right? I hated that he muffed that because it really put us behind the 8 ball. Credit to them, they're going back and trusting them because they did the same thing for Mike Thomas. When they went back to Mike Thomas, though, he ain't really hitting on nothing. But when they went back to TT, several different times he's answered the bell, and that's what you love to see. And I think Joey, moving forward in the playoffs, TT gonna make some plays, and it's gonna catch a lot of people outside of our fan base. It's gonna catch them off guard. But we're not going to be surprised because you have to allocate. If Joe Mixon's running the football like that, you got to now allocate so many resources to all these guys when Jamar Chase come back, even when Jamar Chase doesn't come back. T. Higgins and all these dudes. Let's talk about Hayden Hurst on that first 32.
That was nasty.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, in the Browns game, everything that could go wrong to mess up a game at the beginning of a game, it's so important to everything that comes after. If you don't go, do y'all know that the Panthers were on a 25-game streak where they hadn't allowed a first possession touchdown, and the Bengals broke that on that first drive? 25 games. Then the ops aren't going to tell you that. That's why we're here. Hayden Hurst gets that 3rd and 2, and at home I said, let's go. Like when a catch like that, a strong hands, clutch moment, he stood up and he got that catch. And it might not be a big thing on the stat sheet, but that sent the message that everybody, like, you better out-talent us today because we not slipping up. It ain't going to be no early mistakes. And that is so crucial to whatever you do in the game. Whether we score a touchdown or not, We got to flip the field position, and we cannot afford to turn the ball over or make mistakes.
For sure. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, it was just the Panthers and this and that. This is what you should do to a garbage team. You should blow them out the water. This was not normal football. You got to remember, this is a season where defenses are doing something unprecedented and historic and limiting offenses this season. Like, offenses aren't scoring like that. So for the Bengals to come out and put up 35 on the team and a half, that's not normal. They did what they should have did. I mean, this is a Panthers team that's a helmet taken off away by DJ Moore from beating the Falcons. I mean, let's just call it how it is, right? This is also the same team that was able to beat Tom Brady and make them look like they were the Panthers, right? I thought the Bucs were the Panthers when they played between those two teams. Let's get to some of the comments that we have in here. Zim, you wanted to say something before we jump into that?
And on the same tip that you're saying that, Bengals fans got to get on board. And I was telling Tom, our folks over at Chatterbox Sports, shout out to them. We had some good interaction today in Spaces. But I was telling Tom this on his show, Behind the Bench. If y'all don't know, it's a great show. I come on it twice a week. I was telling him on the show, Bengals fans got to get and snap into the reality of, we had 3 games that didn't go our way at the very end of those games. And a lot of people are using that as a tactic to try to say that you're less than. If you really look at like what Joe Burrow's doing, statistic-wise, with your own eyes, all these different things, you got to understand the record isn't what we won at 5-4, but it isn't been a team that's getting their ass kicked by any stretch except the Browns game. And they've been very competitive in all of these games, and there's games that they should have won. And I credit the staff for adjusting moving forward on a lot of these different games. Because now, like I talked about TC, what about T.I.? T.I. had to play.
T.I. did his thing too.
I let my beat down low. T.I. was out there making
music out there.
T.I. with the trap music. Me and AC and T.I. in the trap. So it's lit. What y'all talking about? Let's go.
Bucket hat and everything for sure.
The bucket hat on it in the trap in Cincy. So T.I. with it too. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about Trent Irwin. You got to keep up. That's another step of championship football. Y'all know how y'all see the secret handshakes? We got to get on board. Like when T. Higgins get a good catch in the game, everybody need to be like, T. And then when you see T.I., tell the DJ, run the T.I., play some trap music when my man T.I. get a catch. You said you wanted to get to one of the questions.
Yeah, let's get to some of the questions. Our man Cincy James, what's up, Cincy James? He asked, who's your X factor for the second half of the season? Second half that's an interesting one, right? Because we've seen the first half. I'm gonna hop out here and say this, man. Looking at the games that we have coming up between Pittsburgh, you talk about Tennessee being in that stretch, right? I'm going to say it's a dude that will be getting back for that stretch. I'm going to say it's DJ Reader. I mean, I think...
Did you see him today?
Yeah, I saw him out there on the rehab field looking like he might come back against Pittsburgh. He's going to be a major key, man, in that Tennessee game, just like he was in the playoffs last year, right? So I'm going to say DJ Reader because if we can make teams one-dimensional, I think especially when you get into December, a lot of teams want to run the ball the later the season kind of gets. So I'm going to say that it's going to be him. I mean, that might be an obvious one, but I just think for the second half of the season, we're going to need him to give us that presence in the middle, even though they haven't been too bad in the run game, right? But that second game you talk about against the Ravens, that late game, you talk about the game against the Browns, talk about the game against Tennessee. DJ Reader, I think, is going to be a huge X factor in that.
I think we might lean towards both our X factors being on defense because that's what has to step up. I'm not as worried about the offense as maybe a week ago. I wasn't worried about them in the Browns. Like, I knew what happened to the Browns game, bro. Like, I knew what happened. Like, and I hated watching it. I felt like that when we was at that Steelers game. And remember, at first I was like, bro, they going spread. And then I was like, okay, they're still going spread. What are they doing? It's like one of them things. And I'm just like, that's not who we are. When we identify like who we are, Joey B doesn't have the greatest arm. We don't have the number one defense. We don't have the number one kicker. but we're really good at every single aspect of football. And a lot of teams I feel like aren't. My X factor, I'm gonna go with Daxton Hill in this. And I don't know if y'all seen a report. He was in uniform today, so the shoulder injury probably isn't as bad as people think. I think a lot of people, and it was warranted, a lot of people wanted to make sure that they saw Dax Hill. He's a first-round pick. I think you'll see him in games like Chiefs, Buffalo. I think you're going to see a lot of Daxton Hill, like more than what you probably thinking, because they're going to implement some packages that'll work in his favor, and I got him making some huge plays down the stretch. And then when we get to the playoffs, who knows what Lou going to do. But I think that's the X factor from an athletic standpoint, from an intelligence standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint. There's so many different things that Dax Hill can be done and implemented into a game plan that the opposing team isn't really scheming for. They're scheming for what they see. Bring Dax Hill out there, you got some answers.
All right, our man Diddy. Shout out to Diddy, man. You've been rocking with us forever, man. I don't think Diddy has missed a show, a Zim stream, AFC North Talk. He's always supporting us. Shout out to you, man. Yeah. He asked, "Oh, this is spicy right here, Diddy. Can we cut Mike Thomas? I see him in the game, and I just dread him getting the target." What's your thoughts on that, Zim? I'll let you answer this one first.
I'm not as extreme. I just don't think he has a role. He shouldn't be receiving the football if he wants to be like a major part. Like all hands on deck. Like depth is needed. Competent players are needed. All these different things, all the positive energy, all these different things that we need to. People call it magical. It's not magical. It's when everybody buys into a team, and you need a Mike Thomas because the players do appreciate him. Special teams, why he can contribute all these different things, but from a wide receiver standpoint, there is no world that he should be on the field more than little TT. TT gotta get all them snaps. Anything going out on a route, TT.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Mike Thomas does on special teams, that's what gives his value to this team. So, I'm sure they'll have a role for that, but I think we've obviously seen with last game, he's kind of been phased out from the receiving aspect of this. We got another one. Another great friend of the show, great supporter. I'm pretty sure he's having some Midwest barbecue as he is watching us tonight with the Luther Vision. Greg
shout
Luther.
Shout out to Yash Gami too. He be in here every time. Shout out to everybody that's in here tonight. Make sure you tell all your friends, even our ops, come on in here. We need you. Like we need to turn this channel up and get the good times rolling. Go ahead.
112 people watching right now. So
let's go. We giving out free trips.
All 100 of you. We also are giving out a free trip later on in the show. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you've left or anything, don't leave. We got something planned for you. Don't do that. You might miss it. But Greg asked, what player needs to step up the most the second half of the season? I'm going to put this out here. I'm not trying to wish bad on the kid or anything, man. I understand that he's going through some growing pains. I need to see Cam Taylor-Britt step up for the second half of the season. And by that, I don't need him to be Cheeto or anything like that, but I just don't need him to be a liability. I think that he can turn it around. I think the kid has talent. That would be the guy that I feel like has to step it up the most the second half, because like Zim talked about,
we're on the
Chiefs,
same page.
Bills, Steelers even, right? They like to pass it for real. If he can step it up, bro, I think we don't miss a beat. I think he's going to be a key part, and I think he can do it. Don't let me saying this make you think that I don't think he can turn it around. But I think that if he steps it up, he'll be good. Zim, who you got for me for the second half?
I got the same person, man. It's up to CCB. It's a lot of guys.
Ryan got one. Ryan said, I need to see Jonah step up. I don't know. I think that might be a good one, my boy.
I'm gonna help you out with this one, Ryan. Jonah is Jonah. Jonah going Jonah. Jonah going Jonah over there. Jonah going Jonah there. Jonah going to Jonah here. Jonah going to Jonah where? Jonah who? Jonah Williams everywhere, right? But at the same time, they can help Jonah by limiting the opportunities for guys to come and kill him. like just limit the opportunities. He's not a bum. He's just not a guy that can stop what we're trying to, what we're, the Myles Garretts, the TJ Watts of the world, the guys that on that level. It is what it is.
Maybe slide a double team out there. Let's just
help him. Just help him. Hey, Zachary, I know you got a family member or somebody in here right now Talk to Zachary for us. Don't let Jonah get out on no island with nobody. He's not built like that.
Yes, sir. Let's see if we got any more left before we move on. We'll try to take one more and move on to our next segment here. Let's take a look. Let me see.
Shout out
Somebody
to
said
Bro for
that
Life.
talk
Shout
about
out
Alan
Lamar.
George. I think Alan George had a great game.
I talked to Bro today. We might bring him back. If y'all don't know, check out the other shows on our Wincinnati Pod Network. We do a really good show, or these guys do a really good show with Jake and Mon. It's called the Bengals Pulse. They interview Alan George. If you all want to just search for that, give it a like or whatever. If you want to see Alan George, who has now been thrust into this opportunity, and you want to hear a great kid with a great mind on his shoulders and can play ball, go check that interview out. But we are probably going to have him on like coming up this week too. Like next week.
Speaking of opportunities, man, Drew Christmas. It might be Christmas for Drew Christmas because Kevin Huber. I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know if it's father time. I don't know what it is. The leg has been looking a little suspect, bro. I hate to say that because he's a Cincinnati legend. Wanted him to definitely go out right. It hasn't been working. I've seen a lot of interviews with Drew Christmas, man. I'm just gonna read between the line there. I think they're gonna make a switch, bro. I mean, I'll indicate like why are they even interviewing this dude if it's not gonna happen? I mean,
the only thing is the hold. You know, like the hold on these kicks. That's the one thing I caution, Bengals fans is that I don't know. We're already talking about the details of Evan McPherson right now with the new snapper. Now we're introducing a new holder too. So that's the only thing that I'm just like, I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I want Evan McPherson down the stretch. We cannot go to where we want to go without Evan McPherson. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, think about what he did.
I get it. I'm with you. I think that there's definitely been some chemistry off there since we got the new long snapper. But I can't see 20-yard punts anymore, bro. I can't watch. Hopefully, let's just hope that Christmas has that continuity. But you bring up a great point. Like, those holes got to be on point, bro. Like, we can't see anything bad there. But yeah, I think it's time for some new blood there. Also, man,
something to think about. We talking about the kicks and the special teams and stuff, and I'm all for a better punter. I think he'll do fine, but that hold is going to be very, very important coming down the stretch too. So that is an element of his job that he has to do. And I was told, I remember at camp, that was something, and I wasn't told personally. I remember hearing it on Dave Lapham and Dan Hoard do an excellent podcast with the Bengals, and that was one of the key points that they said will be the deciding factor, where most people believe that Drew Christmas had beat out Huber at camp.
And Money Mac was also punting. I don't know if that was serious, if they were just having some fun before the bye. But speaking of that, like you gotta have hands and fingers for holes, right? Apparently, some Bengals fans thought that Mike Hilton should just get rid of his pinky because he had 3 separate fractures. I mean, to me, that's just weird, bro. Like, I've actually had an incident with one of my fingers. I would never be like, yeah, let me just cut this mug off and just move on with my life. Like, yeah, I don't blame Mike Hilton for getting surgery to fix his pinky. I mean, when you talk about these things, they're always so sensitive. You may even see former wide receivers like Calvin Johnson and linemen where some of them pointing at 90-degree angles. I'm not mad at this man for fixing his pinky, bro. And I mean, it's a part of the game. It may have happened possibly, and I don't know this for sure, but I did see Mike Hilton like take on a lineman. It could have happened on that play, like because Mike Hilton, just like TT that we talked about earlier, not the biggest guy. But for me, I thought that it was weird that people wanted him to cut his finger off like Ronnie Lott and just go on about it. I get it, but at the end of the day, I think those same people wouldn't cut off their own pinky if they were in the same situation. What did you think about like him going for the surgery? Like, did you have a problem with it? I feel like I had more of a problem with people DMing him talking about like cut your pinky off. That's a weird DM, bro. Like
that's weird. That's weird.
We get weird DMs. I don't think we've ever got a weird DM that was like, yo, bro, you need to cut your pinky off. Like,
I get some weird ones. I'm not a screenshot guy, but if I did, some people would probably be a little grossed out. But yeah, that's really weird, and I'm not really big on like public social media interaction with players either, or DMing them and I don't know you. Like that's just weird behavior to me anyway. Like that's like groupie weird behavior. I do remember last year though. I famously tweeted this out when Joe Burrow hurt his pinky in the Chargers game. If it meant we could win a Super Bowl, I might get that man my pinky. He can have my pinky.
Oh man!
But nah, we not giving up no pinkies.
They're like
I'm gonna tell you one thing too.
Like the players, bro. That's just kind of crazy.
It is crazy. I'm gonna tell you one thing too.
Get rid of your pinky. You're good. Like what?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you another thing too. Jalen Davis, Jesse Bates had a good interview with him after the game, and he was like, "Man, I call him like any." I forgot what he said. He called him, but he said, "Bro, he just makes plays." So there's another dude like in the slot. We remember him a couple years ago from the Browns game where he was finding his way in the league or whatever. Since then, has become a guy that the guys on the team really like, and I thought he played pretty well too. Jalen Davis is a dude in the slot that is really found his groove and his niche in the NFL, and it's going to be a big factor on his team. So if Mike Hilton needs to have a surgery, I'm not worried about it. There's a lot of developments that have happened, like particularly with the Buffalo Bills recently with their quarterback and all these different factors in it. I'm just saying, man, I just don't think that these teams are like superheroes like everybody thought they were. And sometimes you need guys that are competent and in the right place, making the right plays. And I think like the Jalen Davises of the world can hold it down for Mike Hilton before he gets back.
Yeah, man. Speaking of Mike Hilton, a former Steeler, we got news today that the Steelers and Bengals game was flexed out of prime time. We're moving down to 425. I don't like the narrative that Bengals fans are going out here and saying, "Oh, we suck in primetime. Thank God for them." Like that's so weak, bro. Like for real. Like I don't even like were the playoff games not in primetime? Were any of those not in prime? That was primetime, right? America's watching. Like for me, that's cool, but I hope that it's more so that it was because the Steelers, I guess, are struggling at this point. I'm not sure. What the exact reason was. 425, I'm not mad at, but I wanted that revenge on primetime, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want the last time that I was on primetime to be that Browns game and then who knows, especially prayers up for Josh Allen. But the next one I believe is supposed to be that one. But are we even gonna see Josh Allen in that game? I just was kind of sick about that. Did you have any thoughts about the Bengals game being flexed?
I thought for right now, I think I could go either way. Like if we would have talked about this pre-production or something, I would have probably we could have said let's pick a side. But for me, I don't really think that is good or bad, particularly because if we would have played them and beat the crap out of them on prime time, it would have done nothing. Nobody would have cared, and nobody would have really watched a Kenny Pickett game anyway, right? And Steelers are like the least talked about team in that regard. But I do think that they do need to I like to see them win in nighttime just for like the psyche moving forward. But it is what it is. They're gonna have their opportunities later on.
Yeah, shout out to our man Yash. He just said with him being overseas across the pond, he now gets to watch it earlier than having to wake up at 1 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, I'm with it then. I'm with the flexing and all of that. Bengals are gonna cook regardless. And speaking of cooking, let's toss it to our friends at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Wings, them be stocking with them on our wings. They tell me that them on our wings will make you do the grenade. Them on our wings will make you do the grenade. On our wings. Come and get them on our wings. Who they gonna beat them on our wings. Them be stocking with them on our wings. They tell me that them on our wings will make you do the
Zim is over here flashing us with the Midwest best barbecue. Make sure you get your wings, your Uno wings. Check them out. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. You can get it all there. Any kind of barbecue, whether it's ribs or whatever. Ice cream as well. 135 people watching. This is the moment that you guys have been waiting for. We're going to bring in our friend of the show, fans of Cincy. He looked out for me and Zim in New Orleans. Dusko, what's up, bro?
How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Good to see
How
you guys
doing?
again, man. I'm great. Got
this dude puts on amazing events, bro, for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It was great meeting you guys in New Orleans, man. We had a great time.
Oh, New Orleans was
hell
amazing,
of a time,
bro. The hotel that we stayed at, everything.
Hey, Dusko, we was out there. Look at us. We was out there on the town drinking hurricanes, getting it in with the locals. Look at us, man. Look at us now. We're out here 5-4, ready to head to Tampa Bay and make somebody a lucky person tonight, right?
Yeah, man. Time to get healthy on this bye week and then go from there, right?
For sure. Yeah. Well, Dusko, we wanted to bring you in because you wanted to do a special giveaway that we've been kind of talking about on Twitter. Let the people know what they're going to get with this package before we announce the winner.
Sure, yeah. So it's our full package option that we're offering for this giveaway. So that includes a round trip flight from Cincinnati to St. Petersburg, three-night hotel accommodation at the Holiday Inn in Clearwater Beach, game tickets, all-inclusive tailgate. So it's all you can eat, all you can drink. It's going to be catered. So we're going to have some barbecue, chicken, pulled pork, ribs, all that good stuff. Or you can drink beer, seltzer, mixed drinks, mimosas, all that. And then, so we have shuttles taking everybody from the airport in St. Pete to the hotel as well. And then from the hotel to the game, because it's maybe a half hour from the hotel. So that's all taken care of. So you got nothing to worry about.
So let me get this straight. You can get your flight straight from the Natty all the way to Tampa, right? You don't have to look for Uber. You don't have to struggle to you don't have to hope that your phone is charged all the way. You already got somebody there waiting for you that's going to take you to Clearwater Beach. Your hotel is on the beach, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Not only that, I'm in Florida. Clearwater Beach is one of the best beaches in Florida. I'm from down here.
I was going to say, you're not far from Tampa. Are you coming to the game?
I'm going to be there. I'm going to definitely be at the tailgate. Then
I got a tailgate pass for you, so.
Yes, sir. You know we in there. You already know we in there. Then not only that, you're gonna get catered food and all of that before the game, and you get to go and see the game. And the shuttle's gonna take you there. You don't have to get an Uber. You don't have to figure out how to bro. What are you doing? Fansofcincy.com. Check them out. But some lucky person, actually 2 lucky people, are gonna get announced with this one. So, Dusko, I'm going to give you the floor, man. I don't know why you guys haven't booked with Fans of Cincy.
So without further ado, I won't keep you guys waiting any longer. So what we did was we had entries from across different platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So just to make it fair, we had a couple random winners picked from each one. And then I got a few winners in this hat here. And here we go with the winner right now. The winner is Twitter user at Beth Searcy. So if you're listening, we got you. If not, we'll be reaching out. We'll message you and get you going for the rest.
Shout out to Beth Searcy, man. You about to be chilling in Clearwater. Tickets to the game. Shout out to Fans of Cincy, man. Glad that we're able to partner with you guys. We had a great time in New Orleans. I'm still thinking about that, bro. The tailgate, everything,
That parade in New Orleans was awesome, man.
The parade, bro. There was literally about 1,000 Bengals fans, myself and Zim included, just marching the streets of New Orleans. I can't wait to see that group down in Tampa. I mean, the tailgate was the biggest Bengals tailgate in New Orleans that we saw that day. I'm sure it'll be the same in Tampa. You guys don't want to miss this. Dusko, let them know where they can find you guys on Twitter and where they can go ahead and book their trips at.
Sure, yeah. So on all social media, we're at Fans of Cincy. It's fansofcincy.com. If you want to book with us, we still have packages available for Tampa. If you're going to be going down there already, or if you live down there, we have tailgate only options. Everything's obviously still included, all the catered food and everything. We also have the same thing for Nashville if anybody's going to be down there. So check us out.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you coming through and hooking some people up with tickets, and definitely be sure to book those tickets and those trips with Tennessee as well as Tampa with fans of Cincy.
Yes,
I appreciate you guys having me on, and Ace, I'll see you in Tampa. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be there, my guy.
Take it
Appreciate
easy,
you, Dusko.
Yes, sir.
Man, we just so you guys know, man, we had partnered up with Dusko. Like, you know, I think it's been a couple months ago. Newer company, not too sure about them. Read a couple different things, but I'm gonna tell you straight up: if you're a person that doesn't really like to look up like a bunch of stuff, want somebody to put together your package together, get you to a game, you from out of town, you want to like mix it up with a bunch of Bengals fans or whatever. The shuttle's going to get you, you know, with a whole bunch of people. And then you got to think, too, the block in the hotel is always going to get you, you know, around a bunch of Bengals fans as well, too. So that's good for traveling, especially for people, you know, like pretty far out of town. I just thought it was dope. We came to New Orleans. That when I tell you the food was on point, the tailgate, bro. Like when they all you can drink, you know, drinks or whatever. Like if you're in the Tampa area, I'm pretty sure Dusko is going to be having like tailgate packages for that game. At the very least, go get a tailgate package, pull up the Ace in them, and make sure you like hop out with the gang. Because I'm telling you, the drinks and everything was on point, and I was very, 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 very pleasant.
And I'm gonna let y'all know, about a little secret, Bengals fans. There's a Skyline Chili. You know where it's at? It's in Clearwater. So meet me in Clearwater. We're going to try to see if we can get Zim down here too. We got to get Zim on the beach with us. But you can also book this with your family as well, man. I definitely booked a whole trip for my family in New Orleans. Spent money like an actual customer for them on their part. So, man, it's very simple, very easy. You don't have to worry about logistics or anything like that. But my final thoughts, I guess, headed into the bye week. 5-4, I think this is where we needed to be at. Obviously, could we have been better? Yeah, sure. But we're in the exact same position we were in last season at this point. For me, I'm going to say the same thing that I said last year on probably that same episode. Come out after this bye like it's the playoffs. The playoffs start for us now after the bye. Once again, we're in this AFC that's crowded. Same situation. Come back into this, come out like every game is a playoff game because you control what you control. You're going to have to play a lot of these teams that you're going to be battling with in the AFC for seeding. You don't have to win the division. I'm not mad if we do win the division, but you do got to get a seat at the table. And if you get in, that's all that matters. Zen, what are your parting thoughts on the Bengals before we enter this bye week?
I feel like nothing in life worth anything, nothing in life worth anything isn't, it's always hard. And sometimes like sports, I compare it to a lot of different things like in my life or whatever. You got to fight for your right to play. Here we come, Bengals.
We coming, man. Stay tuned. It's the bye week. We may be coming at you Thursday. We might not. We might do a show most likely next Tuesday. So just stay tuned to the Wincinnati Podcast Twitter. That's why you need to be following us on Twitter at the Wincinnati Pod, because we will announce there what the schedule will be during the bye week. Appreciate y'all Bengals fans. My man Ing Raven Viz in the comments. Who they? Y'all be
That's
easy.
A good guy right there. I like him, man. That's
definitely a good dude.
And peace out, man. Keep on rocking in the free world. We're going to talk to you soon. Make sure we don't have a show on Thursday, but we still going to be on Twitter Spaces. Make sure you follow all of our platforms. Go to newstripecity.com. Support my bro in his clothes or whatever. Got new designs, the Mixon design. If you're really a Mixon person, really go get a Mixon shirt. Newstripecity.com. Check me out at zimhude.com. Burrow 316. I got the Savage Mode hoodies that are just dropped tonight. It's up.
Yo, go get the merch, man. We got the hoodies going crazy. Appreciate you guys. And also, we also had a man cave coming. It's going to be coming around here pretty soon. Me and Ryan cooking something up. Make sure you get your man cave right as well. Thank you guys for listening to the Wincinnati Podcast.
Yes, sir. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzadeh, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Time to be a Bengals
How do you
fan.
balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time?
Shock the world.